Hey everyone. Oh, the irony of it all. You've heard as of late, whether it's from me giving you that information on my social media pages, because yeah, I do that. In addition to making my videos, I scour through all the news of the day. I spend a substantial portion of my time doing that and sharing those articles or the news and information that I find relevant or important for people to hear. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. Like I say, in addition to my videos, you can just come to my social media pages like my Canadian Libertarian Facebook page, my Twitter page, or any other of the social media platforms that I have a presence, and you can get it all. It's a one-stop shop in terms of not just learning aspects of liberty and what it is to be a free human being, but also keeping up on the news of the day and current events. Yeah, I do that every day, folks, to better keep you educated and informed. And I try to do it in a manner that makes that as seamless and painless as possible. But like I say, the irony of this whole situation, in particular what I'm going to be talking about in this video, is the fact that, well, you've heard, like I say, the politicians, the ruling class in Quebec and their media mouthpieces, how they constantly talk smack about the western provinces, in particular Alberta and Saskatchewan. You know, the oil extraction provinces in this country. I mean, you've heard the, what was it, the premier of Quebec, I believe it was or the leader of that Bloc Quebecois, but you heard him say, right? He said basically, hey, sorry, I don't really feel bad for Alberta. Hey, if they were a green energy producing province, yeah, I might feel sorry for them. But because they're more into the oil and gas or petroleum based products, yeah, I don't care. Oh well, too bad for them, right? If you're suffering losses or going through economic pain, oh well, that's your problem, not mine. I mean, as if that isn't brash and pretty harsh enough, considering, like I say, yeah, I've been through Quebec, not only as a truck driver, but as someone that has lived in Ontario and New Brunswick. Yeah, there's one province in between. Yeah, Quebec. So I've been through it many times, and every time I've been through, I've noticed that, hey, it looks basically the same as the rest of Canada in terms of usage of fossil fuels or petroleum-based products. So I can't help but point out the irony and the hypocrisy of them trying to suggest that they're holier than thou or somehow better than their Western counterparts. And in light of recent information, or this particular article, I'm kind of hoping that they'll see the hypocrisy and idiotic stance they've been taking against the oil industry when, in reality, they desperately need it. And that couldn't be any more obvious than what's being pointed out in this particular article. Headline out of CBC News, Montreal, CN strike causing emergency shortages in Quebec's propane supply, Legault says. Quebec Premier wants federal opposition parties to support back-to-work legislation. This particular article has no contributor, but it's being reported on November 21st, 2019. Yeah, I can't help but point out that, hey, geez, with that CN strike going on, right, you know, the rail workers going on strike, I can't help but think that, if the trains aren't running to deliver your product, what else could be an alternative option that would have negated this strike? Maybe if there was a pipeline going to the East Coast, or if there was better infrastructure to provide for all provinces in this country. I wonder if this Legault character actually understands the fact that, yeah, propane, that comes from oil and gas extraction as well. Oh, and one more thing I want to point out, that this Legault is suggesting that big government should force those CN workers back to work. Like I say, folks, when government represents a big giant hammer, every problem better damn well look like a nail, because that hammer is all they have at the end of the day, which in reality just makes a mess of things, in case you haven't noticed. Quebec's supply of propane will run out within 4 days, threatening the heating system of hospitals and elderly residents across the provinces if a strike at Canadian National Railway isn't resolved soon, Premier François Legault said Thursday. Legault described the situation as an emergency and called on federal opposition parties to be prepared to support back-to-work legislation. The Alberta government has also asked Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to recall Parliament ahead of its scheduled return on December 5th in order to legislate an end to the strike. While Alberta's concerns involve stalled oil shipments, Legault is worried about Quebec's supply of propane, the vast majority of which is transported by rail from Sarnia, Ontario. The strike cannot last, Legault said in an unprompted statement to journalists in Quebec City. Ideally, we hope for an agreement between the union and CN, but we can't rule out the need for a special bill in Ottawa. So anyways, folks, I won't waste too much time on this particular article for this video. Like I say, I like to tie these things up pretty quick, but at the very least, come on. Like the hypocrisy, right? Trying to talk down about the oil and gas industry. Meanwhile, obviously, very heavily reliant on the oil and gas industry. Yeah? Think about the irony of that. Maybe everyone else in Canada should say, hey, sorry, sucks to be you. Better put on lots of blankets. Better buckle up. Put on a few extra layers of clothing this winter. I mean, in reality, it would be an appropriate response, or at least in line with the kind of response that Legault and his counterparts offer to the people of Alberta or Saskatchewan, right? Little tit for tat. I'm not normally a fan of this race to the bottom, but once again, I'm also understanding that these people seem desperate to get down there. Maybe we should stop holding up the progress and let them get there faster. Because the faster we get down to the bottom, the sooner we can start heading back up. Or actually, I shouldn't say we. In reality, I mean they. Because for people like myself, or most of you who watch my video, we understand fundamentally that none of this stuff would even happen if government didn't play such an interventionist role in the economy. Under a genuine free market scenario, none of this stuff would ever come to fruition or become a problem in the first place. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.